Hi everyone, I figured it was time to show off version 1080, and the primary feature for this particular build is visibility conditioning, and it was something that I was unable to show you in the previous video because it just wasn't ready. But I at least gave you a glimpse of some of the things that I was working on in addition to visibility conditioning. So I've made an awful lot of progress since the last video, and so I'll cover some of the things that have changed since the last video, and obviously I'll go into visibility conditioning in its rough form. But at least it will give you a glimpse or an idea of what this is all about, okay? So let's fire up the current build, or my build. And so I've changed up the icons at the top of the main preview screen here. As much as I like the circular effect on the previous video, it just didn't. The design language was completely different to everything else that I had within the theme creator, so I switched it all back to this look and feel. All right. So I can't remember what icons I actually had available now on the previous video, so my apologies. I know I had the aspect ratio, I know I had the view types, the views, and the custom images. I can't remember if I had the speaker icon up there or not. Anyway, speaker icon is up there. That way you don't have to go into the bottom left of the preview area and uncover the speaker mute and toggle it. You can just do it from up here now. Let's see. So talking of aspect ratio, I had actually spent a considerable amount of time on this. So initially my thought was, yeah, I was just going to have aspect ratio selected on here just so it would give you an idea of ultimately what your theme would look like in different aspect ratios, because generally speaking views are generated in a stretch mode, okay? But the more I thought about it, the more I wanted to give you a glimpse of what it would truly look like when running in BigBox. So I started within this preview window and ensured that the aspect ratio was correct if you were selecting 16:9 and 4:3. And this is exactly what it would look like in BigBox, okay? So I started with that, and I thought, well, that's pretty cool. But what if you truly want to edit in that aspect ratio instead of kind of second guessing, going into a full screen stretch mode and then coming back to the preview and seeing what it looks like in this mode? And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. So if you're selecting 4:3, then you should be able to edit in 4:3, and that's exactly what you can do now. See? So you are restricted within this area now. This is your canvas area, not the full screen. Okay? All right, so that is aspect ratio, and I can always go into that in greater detail another time. But anyway, this view, or at least this theme, was designed with stretch in mind, okay? But what I want to go into really is the visibility conditioning. So let me go into text filters view. And I said in the last video that this theme is a great example of where this can be used. And you'll see why in a second. So as you can see on the left hand right of the video, you have the labels and the metadata pertaining to the currently selected system, in this case 3DO. Now if I pick arcade, for example, the majority of the metadata is missing, okay, because obviously an arcade system could be any manufacturer, okay. So arcade is one example. For some reason I've got light gun games in here as a platform, but that's okay. That's another example. Same as arcade. But here's another one, Scum VM. All right. Again, the majority of the metadata is missing. And Steam. Yep, all but Total Games is gone. Okay. So what I wanted to do, and actually when I built this original theme way back a couple of years ago, I actually had all the conditioning on, so the labels would disappear and all this kind of good stuff. Well, this is what you can now do. So the idea being is, instead of if in the case of viewing platform categories or playlists, the majority of this metadata is going to be missing. Okay, so why even show the labels? Okay, it just looks odd. And quite frankly, having Total Games on the left hand side here, when pretty much everything is missing, just looks a bit strange. Okay, so we're going to change this up, and at least on my side, or it seems to be fairly consistent. So again, if I select arcade, media seems to be a common one that is missing, okay, no matter what. So arcade, Scum VM, okay, no media. Steam, no media. And then if I go into platform categories, we have no media. And then again, if I pick playlists and pick one of the standard ones, again, no media. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on making these labels and the metadata fields completely vanish if the metadata value inside the media field, and let me punch it up just so that you can see what I'm talking about here. If this does not contain any data, then don't display the label, and don't even even bother attempting to display the metadata. And I'll apply that logic to all the fields or text fields on this view here, okay? And then what I'll do, I'll place Total Games down at the bottom, right below the video, okay, and make it centered. So let's jump in and do that. Let me have a swig of water. It's late here. It's almost 2 a.m. All right, so we'll edit. I've also improved rendering performance as well going into the editor. Just letting you know. And the other thing too is this panel, your properties panel, or your UI elements and properties panel here, is actually a true window now. As if you know, that really means anything. But if you are running more than one monitor now, it's actually possible to load up the editor in one monitor and simply drag this panel into another monitor, and then that way this your primary monitor is dedicated to purely editing your view, okay, and it's not obscured by this panel anymore. All right, so I'm just letting you know. Can't demonstrate it here, obviously. I've only got one screen. Maybe I'll do that for another time, another video. I can run it on another setup over at my desk. Let's see. Oh, and yes, you can minimize the panel as well. Like I said, it's a true window now, so you can manipulate it any way you want. All right. So if you are bound to just one monitor, as I am here, then this comes in pretty handy. Minimize, maximize. All right. So what we're going to do, I think the first thing I want to do is make some room below the video. So I'm going to move the frame down a tad and then move the wheel down like so, I think. Kind of guessing. Yeah, that's pretty spot on. All right, so now I've made some room. Now what I want to do is apply this logic to all the fields, and I said that I wanted to focus on no content or no metadata being loaded into this field, which is Platform Media 1. Okay, that's what it's known by. And in fact, let me just drop the 1. All right, and it's always a good idea to actually name your UI elements, and you'll see why in a second. All right, so anyway, back to the media label. We scroll down. It's under the appearance category, and it's currently set to visible, and we can click on conditions. All right, so from here I'm going to say, why is it saying text 10? Oh, text 10 is the label, my bad. And that's what I'm saying, it's always good to rename your UI elements, so at least you know what you're editing. So for example, I could say platform media label, right? Okay, so conditions. Platform media label is visible unless a condition below is met. So we'll add a condition, and I'm going to say you're going to be collapsed when platform media text is basically nothing. All right, and I hit OK, and you can see now that conditions exist for this element. All right, so it's visible unless this condition is true, and if it's true, then it's going to collapse the label. All right. All right, so now that we've got that condition defined, I'm going to simply copy and paste to everything. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to copy total games. And let me center and text align. Where are you? Okay. And the same with the game count. I don't know why it's pasting it all the way over there. Be for another day. All right, text align. I'm going to move this up a little bit. And then what I want to do, I'm going to get rid of the animations from this, the fade. And the same with the label. All right, now I'm going to revisit the conditions for this, because I only want the total games and game count at the bottom to appear only if the media metadata field is blank. Okay, so if this value is blank, all of this stuff on the left and all of this stuff on the right will not display. Okay, so in that case, if they're not being displayed, I want this to display at the bottom. All right, so it's the reverse. So if I go into conditions, I can say you're collapsed unless platform media text is blank, and if it is, make it visible. So I'm going to copy that condition, paste appearance, and I think we are good. All right, so let's see if I did it right. If I click on arcade, we don't get the left and right, but we got the total games and game count below the video. If I go to ScumVM, if I go to Steam, oh, I did see one field I missed. What was it on ScumVM? Yep, there it is. Yeah, I figured I missed something. All right. Copy and paste appearance. Let's just double check. I have conditions. It's visible, collapsed if platform media text is blank. Yep, that's correct. Hit save. And it is not jiving. Do I have more than one date field defined? Interesting. I don't want it. Copy, paste appearance. Collapse when platform media text is something. Yeah, It's not jiving on that one. Okay, alright, I'll have to look into that. I don't know why it's doing that. A UI element is a UI element is a UI element. Unless, no. No, I don't understand why. Alright. Anyway, I'm gonna publish. And it was going so well. Yeah, it's copying all the custom images. There we go. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Alright, cool. So let me close the theme creator, punch up BigBox, and make sure the volume's down. Let's turn the PC volume down a little bit. Alright, so Sega 32X, Sega Dreamcast, all of this stuff is appearing as it should, as I would expect it to. Steam, just total games underneath. It just didn't generate the code correctly for that release date metadata field for some strange reason. And I obviously will look into that, but in the meantime, let's go into platform categories. And yeah, so it's alternating there. That kind of threw me because I was looking for total games at the bottom on Commodore Amiga, but obviously it's got media, so therefore it's showing left and right. And then playlists. Yeah. So that is conditioning. With the exception of one bug on a date field. So let me go back into the theme creator a sec. And I'm not going to debug. I'm not going to do that. So we'll go back into here. Now one thing I didn't show was, so for example, if I go in and edit the conditions, I did a very simple condition here, it's just one, and but there might be another condition that you may want to add. So I could say, well, I want it visible if the media is blank. I mean, this doesn't make too much sense, but if I say if I want the platform display, for example, if that text field is blank, in either situation, make it visible. So these are ORs. If platform media is blank or platform display 1 is blank, then make text 21 visible. Okay. Now the other thing that you can do, you can simply AND them, and you can say platform display 1 and, I don't know, CPU 1 is, I don't know, X, A, whatever. So now what this will do, it will say basically this field, text 21, this is total games down at the bottom. By default, it won't show, but if platform media is blank, then make it visible, or if platform display 1 is A and platform CPU is X, then make it visible. All right, so there's a whole slew of various combinations that that you can add here, somewhat complex. All right. I didn't want to go too crazy. I didn't want it to look like a programming language, but that's essentially how you would construct things in XAML. But I think the interface for doing it is just a lot easier. It's a lot more simple. All right, and again, I can remove an AND condition, and it now defaults to ORs. All right, so that's visibility conditioning in its very kind of simple state, in a very rough build right now. I've only got it working on text UI elements with the text property, with the exception of a date field. And there's going to be a whole host of properties that you can pick from, some really good ones, which obviously I'm not ready to demonstrate that because I haven't written the code yet. Let me see some other changes while I was at it. I know some of these have got animations defined. Yes, so if I go into the animation editor real quick, one thing I did add, and this was really as a result of me building the condition editor, or the condition window. I liked how you can basically change the triggering, or when you run the animation, you can do it from within this window. So, for example, you were controlling it via here. Well, now you can do it in both places. So if I said new, it would default to immediately, but I could say once selected and then do something. All right, hit OK. There you go, it's added the new animation defined as once selected. So now it's not like a two-step process, you can do it all in one go. And only that, it's when you're in here, at least you can see how the animation is being triggered. It's a reminder. It's right here, but it's editable. All right, so that was just one little change there. There's been a whole slew of changes, and I don't have my list up, so I won't be running through it, and that's not the point of this video anyway. I wanted to go through visibility conditioning. So yeah, that's it. It's going to take probably a few more weeks for me to plug in all the other criteria that you can select off and build all your conditioning. But trust me, it's going to be well worth it. And an individual on the forum actually sent me a somewhat complicated test case or use case for him, but a test case for me. But what he's after, I can't really demonstrate here because it still warrants some other coding on my behalf in order to kind of fulfill that. So I'm not ready to do that. Maybe a week from now. But I just wanted to give you guys a glimpse of this. You know it's coming in the next couple of weeks. I would say 3 weeks from now, for sure, when I release this build. But I hope you like what you've seen. Aspect ratio, I'm really proud of. You know, some of the performance gains, multi-monitor support, and obviously visibility conditioning that you can apply to your various UI elements now. So yeah, I'm really happy and getting really close. I'll probably do another video next week, like I said, to deeper dive into visibility conditioning with more complicated scenarios. This was a very basic one, but a common one. I'll take it from a basic and go to a rather complex one next weekend. I think that would be great. So in the meantime, stay safe, and again, I hope you enjoyed this glimpse, and I'll be talking to you guys soon.